Y'all didn't think we were just going to stop learning now that we finished our curriculum. Absolutely not. Instead, we're going to spend the remaining time going over all the necessary things you need to know to dominate that AP World History exam. Guys, I'm so glad that we made it through our curriculum. Y'all should be extremely proud of yourselves for getting through everything you need to know for your AP World test. All right. But guess what? We've got about a month and a half to get you prepared to pass that AP World test. And if you guys really want to pass this test, you have the opportunity to do so. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do everything in my power to give you the proper review to pass this test. Okay. Now, guys, we're going to start by going through each unit in AP World History. Now, I know that I have spent a lot of time talking about periods. And even today, I still believe that the periodization, period 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the most important thing that you need. But I think units will be really helpful for us. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through each individual unit and give you guys that opportunity to review everything you need to know. Guys, we are starting in period 1, 1200 to 1450. We are starting with unit 1, the global tapestry, okay? There are 2 units in period 1. Unit 1 was the global tapestry, and the next one that we will look at is called global networks of exchange, I believe. Yeah, networks of exchange. First, we're gonna start with some dates that you need to know, and then we're gonna jump right on into the review, all right? Please, please, please take good notes, or instead add to the notes that you already have. Now, I know it's been a long time since we've talked about period 1, and I know most of you were virtual when we did period 1. Hopefully you have good notes, but if not, it's worth adding these to your notes, okay? Or going through your period 1 notes and adding these into the margins. All right, let's get started, guys. A couple quick dates to know. You have your AP World History mock final coming up. You should have these dates in your planner. All right, I am gonna do my best to get through at least 4 units before this exam, but you should also be studying on your own. All right, this is a mock AP World History final. So over the course of 2 days, you're gonna be able to experience what May 20th is gonna be like. And on May 20th at 12 p.m. at noon, y'all are going to take your AP World History exam, okay? And again, if you guys want to pass this exam, you have the capability to make it happen. We are super far ahead of the rest of the country, and we are so lucky to be able to get back and actually take time to review this thing. Guys, I know that for the most part, I've really emphasized periods in this class, and I think periods are really, really easy, okay? Period 1 is 1200 to 1450. Okay, period 2 is 1450 to 1750, period 3 is 1750 to 1900, and of course, period 4 is 1900 to 2021. But because of the way College Board breaks stuff up, I thought it would be really easy to go ahead and do a review session based on units, okay? So as I said, I'm gonna spend today talking about unit 1. Next class, we'll do unit 2, and we'll make our way all the way up to unit 9. It's worth looking at this chart again just to see how much the exam will be weighted in each unit. So what we talk about today, guys, 8 to 10% of your exam will be on unit 1, okay? It doesn't seem like that much, but the interesting thing is everything that we talk about is going to be fair game. So for example, if you guys get a DBQ on industrialization, you still need to be able to talk about unit 1 and unit 2 in your context. All right, so if your question's about Europe during period 3, what's going on in Europe in period 1? So everything we talk about is important. And I know y'all give me a hard time for saying that everything is important, but it is. So make sure you are familiar with everything that we talk about, okay? Guys, unit 0. I did not spend that much time on this, but I made a great video. It's on YouTube. So if any of this sounds unfamiliar to you, you might want to go back and watch this. Traits of an empire. All right, I spent a whole class giving you guys traits of civilizations and traits of empires. Now, historically, in this class, I would have spent a couple weeks laying out the foundations for AP World History, but instead this year we just kind of dove right in. So we didn't get the opportunity to really dive into ancient civilizations, but that's okay. You really only need to know this because throughout AP World History, you will be talking about empires. So what are some traits of an empire? Well, first, empires have all the traits of civilizations. If you don't know what that means, you should go watch my video. Empires are also multicultural and multi-ethnic. Okay, so many of the empires that we've talked about, they're not one ethnic group. They often conquer other ones and kind of create this much larger patchwork of empires. And because of all these different ethnic groups, we have different languages and different religions. And all these different languages and different religions means that sometimes people have different points of view, different opinions. And that's okay, because empires, in order to be extremely successful, they have to be tolerant. They have to be inclusive. Why? Well, if you want people to not rebel against you, and if you want conquered people to pay the taxes, you got to be nice to them. So that's why so many of the empires we've talked about are tolerant and inclusive, because it's a necessity. These empires are also usually ruled by a centralized government led by an emperor. Okay, so in China, you had the emperor. In the Islamic world, you had the caliph. Okay, Europe, you have a king. And because these empires are so big and so like spread out, and because they don't have those communication elements that we have, you know, we can't. The Islamic caliph can't just pick up his phone and call his buddy. He has to instead use a system of government, bureaucracies to rule these lands. So empires are also in control of resources. That's one way they control money. All right, they need to have as much resources as possible, the water supplies, the food supplies. Empires also promote trade, and they do that through giving out currency or creating currency. And they also are going to be making trade a lot safer. So they'll build roads. And I'm sure many of you heard the saying, all roads lead to Rome. It's because Rome built the roads and then made sure to protect them. Okay. So if any of that doesn't sound familiar to you, you better go back and get these in your notes. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started on Unit 1. As I already said, we did a lot of stuff about Period 1. And this is kind of the first time I'm really breaking it down for Unit 1, the global tapestry. So this is one of 2 units in Period 1. The first one is the global tapestry, and the second one is networks of exchange. Now, the global tapestry is actually broken up into 6 different topics. They're not that difficult, though. Each topic tends to have only a few little informational bullet points, okay? And each topic is also broken into geographical regions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each topic, and I'm going to give you exactly the historical developments that you need to know, all right? So you also specifically need to know world regions. Man, it has been so long since we've looked at one of these maps. It's pretty crazy. You guys need to know this, all right? As I've said, you need to know all the different Asias: East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, the Middle East, all the different Africas, Oceania, Europe, North America, and all of Latin America. Pretty easy map. Most of you already know it, okay? All right, guys, we have made it to topic 1, developments in East Asia. All right, East Asia. When we talk about East Asia, we're specifically talking about 3 countries. All right, we're talking about China, we're talking about Korea, and we're talking about Japan. And in all seriousness, in Period 1 and in Period 2, Korea and Japan aren't super duper important. Instead, what you need to know about Korea and Japan in Period 1 is that Korea and Japan are deeply influenced by China and Chinese culture. Okay, so specifically in Period 1, when we talk about Asia, we're mostly referring to China and Chinese culture. So what do you need to know about China? Well, a lot. China is probably College Board's favorite geographical region. Okay, you'll get asked lots of questions about China. And since we just finished up Period 4, we just finished up Communist China, I think it's fun to go all the way back and kind of think about how China ended up the way it did in Period 4. And so in Period 1, the center of the universe, the most important world region is China. All right, why? It's very, very wealthy. It's very, very powerful. It's very important. China is going to be ruled by the Song dynasty. Guys, they are the first dynasty that we talked about in this class, and they will be followed by the Yuan, or the Mongols, the Ming, the Qing, and later the Commies. Now, the Song dynasty will have all the traits of an empire, okay? In order to rule this large land, they're going to have trained bureaucrats, and these trained bureaucrats will be steeped in understanding of Confucianism. All right, if you don't remember what that is, make sure you go back and read in your notes. What's really interesting about China, though, is China employs a merit-based system. Anyone can become a government bureaucrat, right? Not just the wealthy, not just the powerful, not just the people who've been lucky to be born an important person. No. In China, this meritocracy means that every single person has the opportunity to take a civil service exam, and only the smartest in society will receive the jobs of bureaucrats. So only the most powerful and most smart, intelligent people will be government officials. Wouldn't that be really nice to have a society run by the smartest people? That sounds like a great thing to me. Guys, the Song dynasty will also practice traditional Chinese culture, okay? They will practice Confucianism, Neo-Confucianism, Taoism, filial piety, and the mandate of heaven. I'm not going to go through the religions. I spent a lot of time talking about them in August. Go through your notes. But I will tell you what filial piety is. It's sort of that respect amongst your family members for the oldest. So if you're the youngest in your family, you must have respect for your older siblings. Your older siblings must have respect for their mothers and their fathers must have respect for their grandparents. All right, you should always respect your elders. That's filial piety. The mandate of heaven is another really important early Chinese development, okay? It's that sort of idea that a dynasty was chosen by the celestial heaven to rule. So you could say that in Unit 1, in Period 1, the Song dynasty has the mandate of heaven. But spoiler alert, they're going to lose the mandate of heaven before Period 2 even begins. They're going to lose it to the Ming, or they're going to lose it to the Yuan, aka the Mongols. The Mongols. Guys, Chinese culture is super duper important. All right. And that is why Chinese culture will spread to the rest of Asia. Even today, if you go to Japan, lots of Chinese characters will be seen all around the country. All right. In Korea as well, they'll still use lots of Chinese cultural components. Neo-Confucianism will still be practiced, filial piety, Chinese characters, the alphabet. A lot of stuff will permeate into these East Asian neighbors, even today. All right. China is super duper important. But guys, one of the major themes of AP World is that interaction between cultures. And even though I said China is sort of the center of the universe, China is also deeply influenced by its neighbors. And a religion that is created in South Asia, aka modern day India, will come to China. And this religion is called Buddhism. Okay. Now, Buddhism will be widely adopted in China, but Buddhism will also sort of integrate into Chinese cultures and adopt a lot of Chinese characteristics. So Buddhism will come into China. It will be Mahayana Buddhism. But the Chinese will also take this religion and they will kind of adapt it to fit them. And that's why you see different types of Buddhists, or Buddhas. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, this is probably the Buddha you're going to see. All right. But if you go to an Indian restaurant, Buddha is going to be much slimmer. He's going to look a little different. Chinese Buddhism adopts certain components of Buddhism that fit Confucianism and can fit Chinese culture. And we will call this Chinese Buddhism Chan Buddhism. And it's also going to be the Buddhism that will spread into Korea and Japan. Okay. Now, China is also very, very important in widespread trade. Over and over again, I have told you how important it is to know the luxury goods. Well, here it is again. What are China's most important luxury goods? Silk and porcelain. China is right smack dab in the middle of the Silk Road. China also will trade in the Indian Ocean trading route. Silk and porcelain will be critical luxury goods. They will be wanted throughout the world, especially in period 1, 2, and even a little bit in period 3. Now, China also is important because of another innovation. Well, first of all, China is probably the most technologically important place during period 1 and period 2. One of the reasons is because China will create lots and lots of innovations. All right, they've created gunpowder, paper, fireworks, alcohol, all the cool stuff. They also are going to adopt a certain innovation that will come out of Southeast Asia called Champa Rice. Now, again, Champa Rice is not native to China. It's really from kind of modern day Vietnam. But Champa Rice will be important because historically, you could only grow rice once a year. But Champa Rice is a form of rice that you can grow twice. That means you can grow twice the amount of food. That means you can have twice the amount of people to feed. So China's population is going to explode. It's going to be a very, very big population. All right, so moving on to another geographical region, we're going to talk about the Islamic world. Okay. Now, the Islamic world, in terms of geographical regions, it's kind of the Middle East, but Islam also permeates Northern Africa, which you see here, and also permeates South Asia, okay? Especially India. That's why there's so many Muslims in modern day Pakistan. The Islamic world is somewhat unique though, okay? Islam is a very interesting religion, all right? It's one of the newer religions, in fact, all right? The Prophet Muhammad. It is a monotheistic religion along with Christianity and Judaism. And in fact, these three religions are the Abrahamic religions. Basically, all three are very similar in that they're monotheistic. They believe in one God, although they all have different prophets. Okay. Now, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are all practiced within this Muslim world. And in fact, even though there are a lot of Islamic states, because they are empires and because they're tolerant, because they are inclusive, all right, they are going to force these places to make sure they're inclusive of Christians and Jews. Why? Well, you don't want Christian and Jews to revolt against you, and you want these people to pay the jizya. What is the jizya, guys? It is the tax that you pay if you are not a practicing Muslim. So yeah, why not have Jews and Christians living in your kingdom? You can tax them. It's good news. Now, towards the end of period 1, towards the end of unit 1, we're seeing kind of the downfall of this thing called the Abbasid Caliphate. So the Abbasid Caliphate is this kind of maroon region in the map. It is a Muslim state and it is ruled by an emperor, which we would call the caliph. All right. The caliph, as I said to you guys, a lot of these Islamic states kind of fought with each other because each Islamic state claimed that they had the caliph. It was this one chosen God. And towards the end of period 1, the Abbasid Caliphate is starting to decline. And by the end of period 1, they will be controlled by a group of Turks who have recently converted to Islam. And one of these groups of converted Turks is called the Delhi Sultanate. All right, the Delhi Sultanate is in modern day India. Okay. So these Muslim states have all the traits of an empire. As I said, guys, instead of having an emperor, they have a caliph. They practice religion. They're inclusive. They're tolerant. They're patriarchal. All right. Islam itself will rapidly spread throughout period 1. Okay. And it will spread basically through conquest. A lot of these Islamic states will expand. And while they expand, they will also be bringing Islam into other regions of the world. There will also be Muslim merchants on these trading routes, bringing in Islam to all corners of the world. So you have Muslim merchants on the Silk Road and the Indian Ocean trading route, bringing Islam all over. But you also have a group called the Sufis. The Sufis are sort of a mystical Muslim group, and they will also be bringing Islam around the world. Ultimately, guys, Muslims are going to be really, really important, especially when it comes to trade. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, wherever there is trade, there are Muslim merchants, and wherever there is Muslim merchants, there is trade. Trade means money, guys, people exchanging goods. And Muslims will encourage innovations, especially innovations related to trade, all right? Like the caravanserai, like trigonometry, algebra, all this stuff that's going to help, or the creation of zero is also something that will come out of the Muslim world. So these new innovations usually will have something to do with trade, and they're going to transfer these new ideas. Now, moving on, let's talk about South and Southeast Asia. Remember, these are two separate regions. South Asia is modern-day India and Pakistan and Bangladesh. Southeast Asia is modern-day Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, all right, Indonesia. Even though these regions geographically are very, very distinct and very different, during period one, they have a lot of overlap and a lot of similarities. So in India, Hinduism is practiced. All right, Hinduism is not monotheistic. In fact, Hinduism has multiple gods, thousands of gods, in fact. Okay, and it is the dominant belief system throughout South and Southeast Asia. Okay, Hinduism comes specifically from India, but it has spread. All right, before our AP World History curriculum, Hinduism has spread into Southeast Asia. But in both South and Southeast Asia, there are minorities of Muslims and Buddhists. Okay. Now, another civilization that you need to know about in Southeast Asia is the Srivajya Civilization. It's a major Buddhist state, and it exists pretty much uniquely due to the Indian Ocean trade. Okay. These South and Southeast Asian civilizations have all the traits of an empire. Again, go to that first slide if you really, really don't remember it. But what is sort of unique about these two world regions is something called the caste system. Okay, the caste system is this hierarchical system where wherever you are born, you will die. So if you are born a commoner, a peasant in modern day India, congrats, that's how you're going to die as well. There's going to be no social mobility for you. Okay, the caste system keeps people safely tucked away in their caste. There's really no way to move up a caste. You can move down castes, but you can't really move up castes. And one way that people don't really question this caste system is because of the Hindu religion. That sort of idea that after you die, you will be reincarnated. So the idea is if you are born an untouchable, but you live a really good life, maybe you'll move up in the caste system in your next life. All right. And because of this caste system, even though it seems a little unfair, because of Hinduism, people don't really question it very much. All right. Patriarchy is also really, really important in South Asia. I think I told you guys about sati, which is widow burning. Men are much more important in this world region. Okay. Now, we didn't really talk all that much about the Americas in Unit 1. But what you do need to know is that there are civilizations occurring here, right? You have the Aztecs, modern day Mexico, the Maya, and the Inca, okay? Now, these groups of people, I'm not gonna spend too much time on simply because we talk more about them in period 2. All 3 of these civilizations will have all the traits of an empire, all right? They're gonna be patriarchal, they're gonna speak different languages, they're gonna practice different religions, okay? They're going to be ruled by an emperor. Just know it. Now, state building in Africa is also unique. We talked about 2 separate regions in Africa. We talked about the East Africa, all right, those city states, and we talked about West Africa, or Mali, which is what's featured in this picture here. Now, I know all of you guys kind of clung to Mali because I told you all about Mansa Musa, the richest dude ever. All right, Mansa Musa and the Mali Empire over in West Africa is going to be very, very wealthy because of their proximity to gold. Okay. On the other hand, East Africa is going to have lots of these little tiny city-states. These little city-states will be known for trade. Okay. These city-states will practice, most of them will practice Islam. They'll heavily trade on the Indian Ocean trading route. They'll trade things like, they'll trade a little bit of gold, but they'll also trade enslaved people, okay? Remember, the Indian Ocean slave trade is one of the oldest in the world. But what you need to know is that Mali in West Africa and the Swahili city-states in East Africa have all the traits of an empire, Okay. Now, I know you guys all love to talk about Europe. All right. I know y'all love to trash on Europe. Well, in period one, Europe is hella boring. I told you guys that the center of the universe is China. It ain't Europe yet. All right. What you need to know about Europe is that it is decentralized. It is fragmented. If you looked at a map in 1200, this is what you're looking at, guys. A bunch of little kingdoms beating up on each other, practicing something called feudalism, or perhaps you know it as manorialism. Okay. Now, what is interesting about Europe is that there are the three big religions. You have Christianity, you have Judaism, and you have Islam. Islam really is only in Spain, though. Okay, so Islam has only permeated Spain mostly through North Africa. Now, all three religions tend to live peacefully, although later on in the end of period one, the Muslims will be pushed out of Spain. That's a whole other story. These are the core beliefs, and they tend to reinforce the society here. All right. So the society is, again, broken up. It's decentralized. It's fragmented. You have a king at the top. All right. And the vassals and lords answer to the king, the knights, and then the peasants. The peasants do all the work. All right. The peasants are not free. If you are born a peasant in feudal Europe, you will die a peasant in feudal Europe. Okay. This agricultural society is largely dependent on this serf labor. What do the serfs get out of this? Well, they get protection by the knights. All right, what do the knights get out of this? Well, they get payment by the lords. What do the lords get out of this? Well, they get, I don't know, the good grace of the king. Guys, there are no big empires in Europe. All right, it's kind of our only region that you don't have that consolidated empire. And as I said, period one is when Asia is the golden child, the golden star. All the important stuff is going on over in Asia, not Europe. And I know that the sort of story of this class is how this all changes and how Europe suddenly finds its groove and, starts trading and imperializing and then taking over the world and then shooting itself in the foot during the global conflict. But just know that in period one, if you had to pick any of these world regions to not care about, Europe would be the one. All right. Guys, next up is our second unit in period one, networks of exchange. We're going to talk about the Silk Road. We're going to talk about the Indian Ocean trading route, all the fun stuff, Muslim merchants, all that good stuff. Y'all did great today. I'm super proud of you. Make sure you email me if you are missing work. Also, love this AP World meme. Was so proud when I saw it. You have work in my class, but also make sure you are studying for your AP World final. All right. I want y'all to do super well on that. I want you to be able to study for that. And then I want y'all to be able to dominate your AP World test in May. Okay. Guys, have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all later.